Hello, friends, and welcome to the next episode of the Get Healthy Makeover series. I'm Linda Curry, and today we are talking about stress. I want to talk to you about different types of stress that you may not be thinking about. We all know about mental stressors like work stress that you might be experiencing, or even lack of sleep. We've talked about how that can affect our brain and our mental abilities if we don't sleep well. But what types of physical stress might we not be thinking about? Eating a food that your body doesn't like could be causing a lot of inflammation in your body. So, again, looking at possible food sensitivities could greatly cut down on physical stress. Lack of sleep or exercise could also be considered a physical stressor. Or EMFs that we've talked about, the radiation from cell phones and Bluetooths and Wi Fi, that can also be a form of physical stress. Physical pain, of course, is a type of stressor. And also toxins that you may be putting into your body through the water you're drinking or the air you're breathing, or even body care products that you're using that might have fragrances and dyes and things that your body is not going to like as that seeps into your bloodstream. So, other than physical and mental stressors, there are also emotional stressors that are greatly impacting our health on a physical level. I found it really interesting that the CDC, the Center for Disease Control, states that 85% of disease is caused by emotions. I found that really incredible. And so, even though a lot of our trauma may be hidden, we may have buried it, it takes a lot of energy to keep that stuff down and buried. And one of the things I like to mention is, again, the mindfulness practices that are going to help maybe pull some of this up and have more acceptance around it. The mirror work is one of my favorites, as you know, just helping with our own self-worth, I think can greatly reduce the amount of emotional stress in our life. Relationship stress can also cause a lot of emotional issues. So that is something to address. If you have a lot of stress in your relationship, I bet there are some actions you can take to relieve some of that. So please jot in your notebook, as this is such an important topic, of what is causing stress in your life and what actions can you take to mitigate those. And think about the things that wake you up at 3 in the morning that you're worrying about. I bet there are things that you can take action on to help relieve your mind and stop worrying about those things. Get some resolution around them. So, there are definitely stress management techniques, and I want you to consider that it's not the stress itself that is causing issue for us, it's our response to the stress. So, having mindfulness practices in your life can actually soften that response to stressful activities. So things like yoga or Tai Chi or Qigong or meditation or just taking 2 to 3 times a day to do some breathing exercises. A lot of that can really help soften that response to stress. So please consider implementing some of that into your life. Also, incorporate into your life what you love, because the more things that we're doing and thinking about that are bringing joy to our life, the less stress we will have. Community is very important with stress management and something that I'll talk about a little bit more in a bit. Having gratitude is a great technique. So, having a gratitude journal is really great to jot down every single day what went well during your day. And it helps to write it down because you can then, it reminds you to do those things again the next day, the things that really brought you a lot of joy. Getting enough sleep and exercise are great stress management techniques. So please consider implementing those into your life if you haven't already set goals. Okay, and then something that is interesting to me is that people in service are happiest. So, if you're not in a service industry, you might consider how you can incorporate more service into your life, whether it's helping a family member or a child or a neighbor that has some need that you can help with. Because it just makes you feel really good. And adding that joy into your life will really cut down on your stress response. There was an interesting landmark study that was published in 2010 involving over 300 participants. And the findings of this study are incredible. They found that social support was a stronger predictor of survival than physical activity, body mass index, hypertension, air pollution, alcohol consumption, and even smoking 15 cigarettes a day. That is really alarming to me that social support is such a huge predictor of survival and health. And so, with that, I wanted to talk about our sense of connection and community in our lives. Do you have strong relationships with family members and your significant other? And keep in mind that we shouldn't expect our partner or our significant other to meet all of our needs. So, where can you tap into friendships and neighbors and other family members to help meet your needs of connection? Very important. So, with that, this is a very important subject, stress. And so I really want you to jot down in your notebook. Think about all the different types of stressors in your life and what is causing you the most pain. And what wakes you up in the middle of the night that you're worrying about that maybe it's time to take action on. And maybe you're procrastinating on something that you can finally get done and just let that go. Find some mindfulness practices so that you can soften your response to stress. And make sure that you have goals, a regular exercise routine, and you're prioritizing sleep. And maybe consider bringing in a gratitude journal. And don't forget that sense of community and connection. What can you do to improve upon that? So, with that, I want to say thank you again for joining me. And I hope you will join me again next week as we conclude this Get Healthy Makeover series. Thank you for joining. See you next week.